with suffering with addiction or mental health issues or both, because they run hand in hand, when they get to that point of sobriety and their dopamine levels are low and they start to get irritable and frustrated and so on, and the mind knows if they can come up with something to have this emotional overload and explosion and temper tantrum, what can they do? They're going to use, because then they have an excuse. They have that excuse, well, this happened and that happened and so I had no choice. Now, there's no logic in that at all, except for the inside of the mind of the person doing it. Does that make sense? Because when you talk and you tell somebody, what are they going to say? Well, that's the behavior of a child that's not in control of their faculties. Does that make sense? That's why a lot of times people with addiction, they like to bottle things up. Why do they do that? Because their mind knows if they do that, eventually it's going to pop, and then that's going to be the outlet to use and relapse again. Does that make sense? Okay? So you got to remember, when someone who's suffering from addiction is getting clean and sober, their conscious, their prefrontal cortex, the logic, the reason part of them absolutely wants to get clean and sober. But the other half of them, the subconscious, the parasympathetic nervous system, the area that isn't conscious, doesn't. In fact, quite the opposite. It wants to continue to use. It just doesn't want to have consequences, but it doesn't care. So it's a battle going on. That's why mental health and addiction is so difficult, because you're not fighting with the therapist or the doctor, you're fighting with yourself. And who knows how to manipulate you better than yourself? Nobody. Nobody. And you have a pattern, a habit of this, because you don't have to look far behind. You'll see that this pattern has happened over and over and over again. Correct? So people on the outside witnessing, what do they see? Yeah, they see the same old shit. That's a good way of putting it. In other words, they see a pattern of behaviors that are immature, unstable, and inconsistent. And they see you starting to get like this. What do they expect is going to happen again? Blow up, relapse, bad behavior, hurting those around you, and then what? The cleanup. Oh, I won't do that again. And they've been down this old bullshit song and dance over and over again. And I see everybody shaking their head. And that's what I'm saying. It's not just addiction. It's with poor relationships, abuse, codependence. There's all kinds of different things that we follow these patterns of behavior to. Do you think that they're excited about that? No, they're disgusted by it. Are you going to be able to build trust with someone that is unreliable, inconsistent, and immature in their behaviors? Absolutely not. Can you respect and love the things that they did in your life and the connection that you've made with them? Absolutely. But it's just that more disheartening to them, because they're watching you do this again. Again. What are they hoping for? What are they praying for? What do they really want? Yeah, some different behavior. Instead of you doing the old feel sorry for me and building things up and bottling it up and exaggerating everything and then doing the temper tantrum and it's all everybody against me and this and that, and then relapsing. What do they want? What should happen? What could happen?
All of the bad.
Yeah, you can talk about it instead of bottling it up. You can call it out and say, listen, I think I'm building up to, and I'm making this into something that it shouldn't be, because I think I want to relapse. You know what I mean? Because that's the pattern that I've noticed before, and every single time I relapse, this happens. So maybe that's what's going on. And then that person you're talking to is going to say, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And then what can we do about it? Well, stop being an immature child. and be a grown person, a grown man or a grown woman, and take responsibility for doing something different. So instead of having that temper tantrum and explosion, what should you do? How do you get rid of that energy? Well, you talk and you tell somebody, you rationalize it, then you're going to remember what the consequences are. What are the consequences of having that? You're going to lose those people. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your well-being. Nobody's going to trust you anymore. You're going to put yourself into a situation where you are so debilitated and impaired in your function, you cannot exist. That's the outcome. Is there a different outcome that I'm unaware of? No, there isn't. So if you're aware of that and someone brings that to light, and then they tell you, hey, how about this? How about you fucking grow up? How about you take control of your life and do something that you're supposed to do? Instead of being upset how people don't trust you, how about earn their trust so they do? Instead of complaining about you not being where you need to be at your work and earning your potential, how about you get to your potential by being consistent, reliable, stable, and in control? That's what you have to do. How do you do that? Well, you need to stabilize. You need to keep that in your forethought, those consequences and what's going to happen. And then go exercise, be active, be productive. Start talking and telling everybody that'll listen. Hey, you know what I noticed in the past? That I bottle stuff up. I get out of control emotionally. I act like an immature, spoiled kid that's 13 years old throwing a temper tantrum. But I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because I'm telling you what I'm going to try to do. And then that way, by me telling you and revealing my secret, now everybody can hold me accountable, including myself. And then you can do something to change it. Instead of isolating and pissing those people off, so that you have a reason to go relapse, how about tell those people, be honest with them, because the honesty part is the only thing that's going to save you, and be honest about what you're doing. And guess what you'll get instead of repulsion? You'll get acceptance, and you'll get accommodation. You'll get support. Hey, you're right. You do that every single time. And to be honest with you, we're expecting you to do that, but we don't want you to. And now that you're being honest about it for the first time, what are you going to do? Because we're scared. We're terrified. Well, you should know what to do. Exercise. Be active. Go do things that are productive. Do you understand? Take responsibility. Organize and stabilize your environment and keep that support. It's not hard to overcome. It's not hard to overcome. And once you do that, have you rebuilt some of the trust? Absolutely. It's super easy to overcome. It's super easy to overcome. If you feel like you're going to fall into that old relapse routine and then you call it out, you talk to somebody about it, and then you change it by doing the aforementioned things, just those simple things, you're going to overcome it. It's not that hard because you're in control of it now. It's not an emotional overreaction anymore. Now it's a cognitive decision based upon ration and thought and critical thinking. And then you're acting by producing the behaviors that will create stability, dopamine in your brain. And once you do that, you're going to get the love and the admiration from the people that you usually disappoint and hurt. That in and of itself is going to be unbelievably rewarding. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And once you do that, you now have the recipe to overcome relapse every single time. You only need to do it a few times. Once you do that, it becomes automatic, and you'll keep getting more and more support, and it'll get easier and